All right. Okay. So this is the objective. Okay. This is to prepare you for short master, for your short master dissertation, for your short project. Okay, I have mentioned before, but this can also be used for your future PhD or industrial project. To groom means to help you on how to prepare your research proposal. We will go detail from title, executive summary, introduction, problem statement, down to the objective methodology. And also in this subject, we will practice pitching, means that you have to present your proposal, your idea, and we try our best to share our experience before, but I believe that some of you are very good in presenting. Some people is natural in doing presentation. Some might be very, nervous, but then it's okay. This is our class. This is our small class. And this is where we can brush up. We can help you to present, and then don't be shy. This is where you learned. And of course, once you have developed your proposal, you have your methods, research design, then some tips on how to conduct your research means that you acquire data. And then some of you who has joined me in statistic, we have started to learn about data handling. So this is also will be repeated in a bit in this class. Okay. And then the last part is for you to write the report, means the thesis itself. Okay. And at the same time, how to report your data in terms of oral presentation, probably poster presentation, slide presentation, because proposal is different. Result presentation is different. And progress presentation also is different. Okay. So these are things that we will cover in this class. Okay, I'm not going to talk about this during the first class, so let it go first. Okay, and then content-wise in detail, you can refer to the module. Okay, it's like just a guide that what we are going to discuss. But since this is a sharing session and discussion, I really wish that you are active in the discussion as well. Okay, as for a start, this is just to introduce to you what is characteristic of research. And this is what I call relative, or is actually not always true. Okay, because things are getting new things are getting, so we don't know whether this still be acceptable now. But as a guide, there are a few things about research that we should grab the idea of. Okay, so there are many types of research. So we don't. The main thing is you understand the principle of how to start. Okay, where to start and how to start is very important. If not, then if I understand some of you, I think many of you has done a final year project before. So it's a small scale research, and most of the time you are given title, all right, title of research, and some of you most of the time will ask whether I need to prepare my own title, or I prepare my own project, or do I ask the title from supervisor. I mean, you can do both sides. You can ask from your supervisor, or you can come with your own problems to be solved. Okay, may I know how many is currently doing research, who has registered for research dissertation? Yeah, I know Zawa. And Navitra, are you? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Last semester, I prepared the dissertation.
Oh, you're ready. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Anyone else has enrolled in master dissertation?
Not this time, Prof.
Not this sem, yeah? Hansiao, are you? Yeah, you mentioned just now. So you're saying that you're under Dr. Nadia, right?
Yes, doctor.
Right. Okay. Usually, I don't know. It is good to take together this research methodology and master dissertation, because you are doing the same thing. Means that you develop proposal as well as for CHM. I don't remember the code. There are part A and part B, because you're doing the same thing. But if you're not able to do it, yeah, I understand, because it's, in terms of time constraints, so I understand. But I hope that you keep this, whatever that skills that or information that you acquire from this. I hope that you remember and you apply it when you do your master dissertation. Okay. So the nature of a problem. So when we talk about research, it's always about solving problem. Okay. So sometimes I'm not going to detail on this because we are going to detail out in proposal development. Sometimes depends on how detailed the research is needed. Some research are done to describe the situation, means that how bad the, let's say now Malaysia, we have the issue of the rice, the price of rice is increasing. So we want to know the actual issue. Okay. So we have to do a bit of research. So in this case, you state the problem that you want to know the real situation, the real price, the real shortage of rice, and then that is the problem that you want to solve. So it's going to be a small scale research where you acquire data. Of course, you have to move around asking questions to the customers, to the suppliers, to the shopping complex. The shops, asking about a series of questions that you have set. Okay, I'm not really good. I don't have any experience in doing survey-based research, so I'm not going to be able to discuss this. But this, okay, as I mentioned to your previous batch, you can do this type of research for your master dissertation. So, okay, for master dissertation, okay, does not have to be a big scale research. Requires you to be in the lab doing wet chemistry. You can do survey based, but of course it has to be related to analytical chemistry. Okay, you can do data-based research as long as it is related to analytical chemistry. So you have to understand that this is also acceptable in master dissertation. If you you don't have time to do to be in the lab. If you wish to be in the lab, doing some wet chemistry is okay. I mean, it's of course very good, but you don't have time because you're working and you have some project in the workplace. You want to know something related to that, and then you can just solve by using data. then that is also acceptable for master dissertation. Okay, so you need to know that it is not always wet chemistry. Okay, some researchers try to answer questions that are involved in these activities, try to get the true pictures. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. Does not have to be wet chemistry. It may be just literature study, and it may be related to survey. Okay, you have to do surveys, real life surveys. Okay. So we know all this research may help society, a government to address problem and provide solution. And in fact, it is actually helping society, but we don't really aware of that. Okay, because research in Malaysia probably is due to our attitude as well, that we don't read journal papers, we don't read reports. So we don't know all these are available for us to read and to learn about it and to make decision, to do decision making based on the data. Okay, so it is in fact helping. Okay, but most of us are not aware about this research is helping us. And research, as I mentioned before, I talk about rice issue. Okay, research can provide information about the problem. Means that you know what is actually, okay, there is a statistic on the the rice price, okay, and there is a statistic on the shortage of each states. Then we can know the actual information, but that information does not like come out easily unless somebody do the statistic, do the research. What is the actual problem? Okay, what is the truth about the rice shortage in Malaysia? So somebody has to do the job. Research can explain the problem and suggest the solution, because once we have the true picture of the problem, then we can suggest the solution. So you can see here, research is provided into two types. Okay, research to know the problem, what kind of problem that we have, and the other research is to propose a solution. So from here, you can actually have two research coming out. One is to know the problem itself, what is actually the problem. And the second one is to suggest the solution. Okay, what can we do to increase the rice supply to Malaysia to lower down the cost? So what is the solution? So there are two research here. So research can lead to action, of course. I mean, work has to be done. Once you propose, you have to do the job. Okay, it's not like you propose and that's it. Okay, so the job or the research has to be carried out. Okay. Okay, researchers must conduct the study means that it has to be it has to be done. Okay, somebody has to do it. Okay, of course, personal interest, bias must not affect the study. Okay, this is very, 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 very important. Okay, we are not supposed to be biased. What the data should be, what information should be the data obtained from the survey, from the information, from the chemistry, from the data that you obtain from the wet chemistry in the lab. So it shouldn't be, changed. It shouldn't be twisted. Okay. So the most important, bias. Yeah? Bias must not be affecting the study, especially when you have the data and you when you do the conclusion. If you have a sense of bias, then the whole research thing is going to be useless. Okay, right? And then this one, I think, yeah, It's not something that really important. But of course, for sciences, okay, we have this what we call as fundamental research, where we do very, very fundamental science. Okay, we talk about molecular, we talk about basic nanomaterial preparations, and then also applied research, where we use the material in some fuel cell, batteries, and then drugs development. So now this is the two things that I have experience, but exploratory is another one. Exploratory is actually before fundamental, means you have a very new idea, a very new idea that is not proven yet, of course, and then you want to explore. Okay, so I don't know what to give you as an example. I don't have any idea yet. But if I can remember the things about exploratory, but it's difficult actually to explore, because this is like a novel idea that you have, and sort of no one has talked about it. It's very novel that you have to explore it first before it becomes fundamental, and of course far from applied research. So basically we have this basic, applied. We start with exploratory, and then basic, which is fundamental, and later applied research. The rest are just like complementing the three. Okay, so I don't want to go detail on this. This is just to to give you an idea what kind of research that you can do. So I hope by now that you get the idea for your master dissertation. As I mentioned, it's not always wet chemistry, but if you wish to do, that's what you want, then by all means, please do. Okay. So this is basic principle. We know everything we need to adhere, means that comply to certain principles. In life, we have our principles of life. So same goes to research. We have principles of research. Okay. So it's regardless whether you are doing survey or you are doing lab-based or literature, all right? So this is something that you have to follow. You have to think about it when doing the proposal, as well as conducting the research as well, of course. Okay, right. So I don't want just everybody to be silent. Asma Hafiza. Okay, Asma Hafiza, you there?
Yes, Prof.
Yeah, okay. Because this is the first time your name appear. Can I can you show us turn on your camera? The rest I think I have know their face. Asma? Wait. I have to. Okay, Asma, can you tell us what do you understand about representativeness?
I think representativeness means that the research has to it has to represent what the problem is, and you have to have the decision about your procedure. Whether what procedure you have to decide on your sample procedure, your method of procedure.
Asma, are
So I
you
think
working? Yeah. Are you working or
no,
full-time student?
I'm currently working, yes, in Kuantan.
As a
I'm apa quality lab technician in Kuantan.
okay, all right. Okay. So representative, thank you, Asma. Okay. Okay, representativeness, okay, it's like what Asma has mentioned, okay. It has to be represents, for example, okay, if you are doing surveys, okay, if you are doing surveys, then it has to be representative of, let's say, just now we are talking about rice issue, then you have to uh, take samples, okay, from the customers, from the suppliers aspect, and from the uh, sellers, retailers aspect. And then since you are doing the whole country, then you need to have samples from each state. So it's not fair just to do Selangor, and it's not fair just to do, for example, Perlis. So you have to do, it has to be representative. So when you do samples in the lab, for example, okay, we will talk about it later in research design, okay. But in general, when you start to think about the proposal, you have to think about whether you are going to do sampling that representative, that represents the problem that you want to solve, okay. So this should be in your mind before you're drafting the proposal, whether the methods that you use, like Asma mentioned just now, whether the sampling procedures and whether the samples that you wish to acquire will be representative to the problems that you want to solve. Okay, so in detail, we will discuss in research design. Okay, validity. Navitra. What do you think about validity? Is there actually? Navitra? You okay, Navitra?
Sorry,
Yeah, you okay? Your mic is
can
okay?
you hear your question with
Ah,
yes,
validity.
okay. The line was breaking just now.
All right. Can you give your idea on validity?
My idea of validity is validity of the research, like the data makes sense, the way we conduct our experiments and procedure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely correct. Thank you. So when we talk about validity, especially the procedures that we adopt, okay. Of course, there are some standards that we have to use, okay, regardless if it is chemistry standards, the way doing things, the way that we measure, methods to analyze. So there are, of course, validity. So something that is something that's already being validated, an established method that we have to use. So it's a standard way of doing things. When we do method development, especially, yeah, when we do a new method development, we have to validate with standard techniques. Okay, so I'm not talking about this in detail, but I will give examples during research design as well. But these things should be in your mind before thinking about the proposal development. Okay? So reliability, of course, I think everybody talk about when we talk about validation, validity, of course, we are also talking about reliable the data will be, the methods that you want to adopt, or the methods to acquire data. Okay, for example, if you are doing survey, is it going to be like Google distribution, Google, or you are going to meet people? And then what kind of statistic that you want to use to analyze the data? So that has to be considered. Okay, replication. Anyone, Hidayah, can you explain, can you like say why replication is very important? Daya?
Yes, Prof.
Yeah.
replication, in my opinion, that for the study to be conducted in other times, the result would still be the same. So it is something that proves that the experiment or the research is reliable and something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Your ideas, I mean, there is no right or wrong in this case because we do need to replicate, okay? So very important, okay, in conducting research, you have to do replications. Why? We are going to discuss later. This is just to give you idea what you should think, okay, especially when you acquire samples. If it is not enough for replication, okay, how are you going to do that? Okay, because replication means that you have to do multiple sets of experiments, means that you need to have enough samples. So if the samples is too small, how are you going to do that? Okay, you need to strategize. So replication is a must. Okay, if not, then your data uh, is not really, acceptable. Okay, so imagine if the sample comes from different planets and it is very minute samples. So how are you going to strategize with that kind of samples? It is very precious. You cannot just go to the planet and acquire some more samples. No. So you have to strategize on the replication. How are you going to do that? Of course, objectivity, I think everybody knows, is about objective, what you want to achieve. So when you design the experiment, it must be objective. If you do IR, FTIR, I hope everybody knows what is FTIR. You already knew what you want to obtain from the FTIR result. It's not like you do everything, you send FTIR, you send for morphological study, but you don't know what you expect. You should expect something. You only want to confirm from the analysis. So that's why when we send for analysis, okay, is with certain objective. You don't send for thermal study without knowing what to do with the data. Just put in the thesis, but you don't know what to do. Okay, so precision and measurement, okay, this is something that we already learned. Some of you has taken the statistic, so I'm sure I'm not going to repeat this. And some of you is currently doing the statistic subject, so this one is covered. And now the most important is ethics. For me, all this, okay, if you have ethics, you will comply to all this. Okay, I would like to hear from Zawa. What's your comment for ethics? Zawa, are you there?
Ethics, yeah. Ethics in when we doing any research, we must have honesty. Because we will deal with data, so make sure that we not fabricate, falsify the data. So integrity in doing our works and also report the result, not fabricate the result, something like that. Prof.
Thank you. So ethics is very important because, as I mentioned, if you have ethics, you will definitely comply all these principles because you are principles-oriented people. Okay, so very important. All this before you start doing your proposal. Okay, this is the detail of ethics. I mean, we basically understand what ethics is being honest, integrity, carefulness, openness. Openness, it's not always compulsory because sometimes you're doing something with trade secret. So, I mean, you can do that. That is your trade secret. So you want to keep your ideas. So it's fine. So as I mentioned, openness is not always compulsory. Yeah, because you're doing business. You have a formulation how to what? For skin whitening or remove wrinkle, then it's your trade secret. So, I mean, it's not always compulsory. But respect for IP, intellectual property, is very important. If you like writing a review paper and you wish to put someone else diagrams, figures, results, very important results. So you have to acquire permission from the publisher. Okay, you know, publisher like Elsevier, there are many others, but Elsevier is one of the biggest. So you have to contact the publisher, the editor, asking for permission whether you can put the diagrams, the figures from the data, from the journals that has been published into your review paper. That has to be done. Do not use. Okay, whenever that, sometimes scientists present, they present unpublished data. So unpublished data is someone else that is not published yet. So please don't use that. Please don't use that. When I say this is not published data yet, so please don't put the data, somebody else's data into your presentation, into your paper. Okay, please don't do that. And give credit where credit is due. Okay, this one we will discuss this in writing paper towards the end. Okay, like how to acknowledge people. Okay, who's good? Who you're supposed to acknowledge? Who you're supposed to be in the co-author? Okay, this is based on the experience. Of course, this is something not to say very accurate rule or very stringent rules, but there are always disputes about this. But of course, we need to respect. If somebody has patented the idea, then we have to respect the patent is by someone. Okay, so we have to respect for IP. Confidential, okay, responsible publication. This one, of course, very important for you to acknowledge before you start thinking about doing research or proposal. Okay, mentoring does not have to be if you are already a senior. Probably you are the one who are mentoring others. Okay, respect for colleagues. All right, I mean these are all under ethics. Social responsibility, non-discriminations. All right, competence means that you are an expert in that. So that's why you publish in or you're doing research in that area. Legal, sometimes let's say you're working with animals, you're working with blood samples, human clinical samples, you have to acquire ethic approval before even the proposal is submitted. Okay, so you have to submit the proposal to an ethic committee and get approved. Now you can submit the proposal to your supervisor. Okay, so this is something that you have to think about if you plan to do animal study or clinical samples like blood or cells from human. Okay, yeah, this is also from ethical. Okay, so this is what has happened. Okay, I think Zawa knows better
Prof,
because
sorry. Oh, okay, sorry. Nak tanya, I want to ask question. Ethic committee in UPM, we have UPM ethic committee, Prof. If
yeah.
let's say we were to start the research with animals, so is ethic committee from UPM?
Yes, if you are doing research related to with UPM staff, okay, then you have to submit. There is certain document to ethic approval committee in UPM. But if it is not related to UPM, for example, it is only with your company and your supervisor is like just giving, advices, then you don't have to do. It depends on where the research will be conducted. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Right. So this one, Zawa knows better because this was her assignment before. Okay, when we did sensor, right? Sensor technology. Okay. So I don't know whether most of you, if you don't know, then you can search Elizabeth Holmes, Theranos, doing our break. Okay, this is very important because it happens recently. Okay, it happens recently that Elizabeth Holmes, I think I have her picture here. Okay. She a founder. She's one of, I think she's the founder of the Theranos. Okay, what Theranos is. Okay, she claims that there is a device, a small device that she has that can detect multiple disease, including cancer, whatsoever, with one drop of blood. Means that a pinprick of blood from your finger prick of blood. And the problem is, it actually is not working. It's not really working well, but she's very good as a business person, and she's very charming, probably. Even the president of US, Joe Biden, visited her lab, and she managed to pull a lot of money, okay, from investors on the technology that is not working. Okay, so what's worse, okay, she actually, I mean, this technology, this machine is being used, means that they have customers, and the results, the analysis is given to the customers, and some of the customers was baffled because based on the results given to them, okay, they sort of, let's say, for example, they are diagnosed diabetic. But these customers, they I don't think so. So went to a proper lab analysis and found out they are not. Okay, so imagine this is diabetic. Imagine if it is another disease, and then you start your treatments, then which based on the false analysis. So this is what we don't want to happen. So this is, I would say, because I read about this a lot. I read about Elizabeth Holmes a lot because I want to remind myself as a scientist, it's not like I'm too ambitious. Of course, it's good to be ambitious, but you have to caution yourself, remind yourself. You have to be, you need to work hard, but you must have principles. The results, whatever that you obtain from labs, must be validated and must be, check whether it is it true? Is it acceptable? Okay, and then especially clinical study, those related to medical diagnostic, has to pass clinical study. If it is not acceptable results, then you cannot commercialize the whatever diagnostic method that you want to put in business. So I think if you read her about her issue, she is sort of very ambitious. It's not wrong to be ambitious, but you need to have principles. And she's sort of belief in her technology that what we call as fake it. Fake, F-A-K-E. You fake it, you cheat until you make it. She sort of, okay, we try at certain, at this moment, we just fake it, okay, give wrong results. And it is okay until you make it, until you achieve the actual results. Okay, so there are two. Actually, I'll be talking about this, giving these examples in research design, because this is very relevant examples, real life examples. So for those of you who wish to read about her after this, okay, she is now in prison, I think, okay, for fraud. So she has done actually, I mean, not killing someone or whatever, but because she has obtained money from wrong ideas, okay, by leading people with wrong ideas, okay, and this is what people in science are afraid of. For me, like I'm developing a diagnostic method. I have shown you, so many of you, that I'm doing like tuberculosis. So imagine if I don't have a very stringent standard standard towards my own diagnostic, then I will say, yeah, it's working. And then somebody is misdiagnosed for tuberculosis. So what happened to that particular person? So this is a real example, okay, of why we have to be, we need to have an ethic. We need to be principle oriented in research development. And then it's fine to be ambitious, but please caution yourself. Okay, please caution yourself. In future, if you wish to do something small, even small projects, make sure the data is scientifically obtained based on solid science, and you're not biased when when you try to come into conclusion, when you make sense of the data. So please do not put the bias. So the one that the whistleblower, the whistleblower of this Theranos or this founder is, of course, the scientist who works inside the company, who's not happy actually with the problems inside the company, but at the same time, the Theranos is still selling the device. So yeah, the inside people is the one who do the whistleblowing process. So yeah, just be an honest researcher, a scientist. Okay, so I think we should take a break. So as I mentioned in most of my class, I don't know, I mentioned also in this class that my style of doing class, the first hour is for me to give like some ideas to you. And the second hour is for you to take a break, as well as think about what has been discussed for the first hour. But for the second lecture, I usually give some like tutorials, some questions to be presented by the third hour, which is from 8 to 9. But since this is the first class, so I'm not going to give you any questions or any task for you to come back from 8 to 9. Okay? Any question before we take a break?
Prof, just
Yeah.
want to get your opinion for the dissertation. Is it possible some sort of research that we do survey, but it's not a wet chemical project? Example that we do research on whether now in primary school numbers of students taking science or chemistry is dropping or stagnant or increased. So we want to know, because it's very critical in next few years whether there is some reduce in scientists in Malaysia or something like this.
Okay, I would say for analytical chemistry, because you are doing master in analytical chemistry, is difficult. But if you like tailor the survey towards chemistry, now you're being a bit general science. So if you like tailor the title towards analytical chemistry, okay, is it difficult? Why is it people think chemistry is, the students think chemistry is difficult? Then, and then you want to introduce something that makes learning chemistry is easy. So you have like pre-test and post-test, you have animations, so that would be doable. But if it is just like a straight away data or surveys on why, it's not really analytical chemistry. So it's a bit difficult. What I'm saying is you have, let's say, develop an animation. Okay, how to do titration. Okay, for example, how to make titration is interesting because they do titrations, I think. So, and now you do some test, pre-test to give the students question, ask, and then you analyze the results and you give them the animations. Okay, they watch the animations after a while, and then you do the post-test after animations. Then from there, you can conclude with the animation, there is an increase of interest, there is an increase of better results from the analytical chemistry, the animation that you have done related to one of the technique in analytical chemistry. So that will be possible. Okay, Zoa. All right.
Yep, sure. Thank you, bro.
All right. So any more questions?
None from me, Prof.
All right. Thank you so much. So I think we should stop now and take a break. So we should continue at 8 to 9. And I hope that you can spend a bit of time reading about the issue of Elizabeth Holmes because that is very relevant. Thank you. Bye-bye. See you at 8.
Yep. Thank you,
Thank you,
Prof.
Prof.